For many golfers, breaking 90 consistently is a huge milestone that brings more consistency, less frustration, and just more loving their time on the golf course. So I wanted to do a thought experiment, and if I distilled all my practice rounds, all of my time on the range and on the putting surface, and distilled it into 30 days, 1 month of practice to break 90, what kind of advice would I give myself as a beginner golfer, or you as a beginner golfer, to break 90 in those 30 days? And so I came up with 5 key concepts to break 90 in 30 days. I think it's going to accelerate your golf game and have you having more fun on the golf course. And then I'm going to give you a bonus tip that will accelerate it even faster, maybe even get into the low 80s in 90 days. So let's look at those concepts, starting with the first key concept, and that is hitting 100 balls each day. You need to find a way to hit 100 balls a day. And before you freak out about 100 balls, let me explain. Now, these 100 balls are a mixture of shots. So you're gonna do chips, you're gonna do pitches, you're gonna do putts, and even full swings, and it's going to equate to 100 balls. Now, the nice thing about this is you could do about 20 to 30 putts in the morning. Maybe get a foam ball and do 30 to 40 chips in your garage, out in the backyard, or even in your house with those foam balls. And yes, going to the range and hitting full shots. I personally would recommend getting a mat and net. This is an investment that seems like a lot of money in the beginning, but if you do the math, and if you do $5 buckets 3 times a week, and let's say you do it for 9 months, that's about $540 that you would be spending at the range going 3 times a week. And the mat and net is yours after that first initial investment. And I can tell you my mat that I just bought, because I wore out my other mat, there's holes all over it, and that lasted about 3 years, was only about $100. The net was about $80, and it came with everything to set it up in my garage. So it's like it's a $200 investment, and I believe it's going to change how you practice and the way you can practice. The reason why is because you could go after dinner and hit 50 balls and come back in within 20 minutes versus you wasting money on gas to go to the range, paying for the balls, the wear and tear on your car, and not only that, but then sometimes you have to wait for a bay, and that might be 15 minutes, that might be 20 minutes, that might be you not practicing that day because the driving range is full. So think about getting a net and mat. And to up your game a little bit, I would also recommend getting a launch monitor. I use the Garmin R10, highly recommend it. And the reason why is because hitting it to the net, yes, you get some feedback on whether you top or fat a ball, but it's still hard to see the trajectory or the spin that you put on that ball. And having that feedback with that is a huge benefit. This is not the cheapest way to break 90 in 30 days. It is how to break 90 as quickly as possible, and so you might have to put some investment and time into this. Now, you can definitely get all these results just by going to the driving range, but I would highly recommend, there's not a day that goes by that I'm not in here hitting at least 20 to 30 balls into my net, sometimes more. And my wife doesn't care that much because I'm still at the house. She can call me. I could be right into the house within 30 seconds to help her out with anything. It's a great investment. You can do it in your yard. You can do it in the garage like I have it here, or you can do it in a basement. Highly recommend. Just find a way to hit 100 balls a day to get that consistency. Let's move on to the next concept. Concept number 2 is making sure your setup is perfect. It's the basics. And you might think, man, this is super boring. Making sure my grip is okay, making sure my stance is okay, making sure the ball position is the same spot every time is the foundation to a house that will break down if it's not great. If the foundation is not good and the roof is perfect, the house is still going to fall. So think of that when you are doing your fundamentals. And just remember, even Scotty Scheffler puts down an alignment stick every time and uses a grip trainer to train his grip, and he is the #1 golfer in the world. He works on the foundational stuff first. So spend about 10 to 15 minutes doing this. You don't even need to hit balls, so you can do it at lunch at work and verify with video. I have 2 videos right here that shows you how to video your swing, and you don't even need to hit the ball to make sure your setup is good. Make sure your grip is good, make sure your stance is good, and make sure the ball position is in the right spot. Recently at a tournament, my buddy videoed a swing of mine that I know I pulled that ball. And if you look at this, my setup looks pretty good, but my chest, my shoulders are a little bit open to the target. And that caused me to pull the ball. If I did not see that on video, I would have thought I was setting up square every time. And now I feel that I'm a little bit more close to the target. I feel like I'm aiming way right, and I'm just going to take my normal swing, and that had fixed my pull with that club. So basics are very important. You need to spend time on that. And so spend time on it, 10 to 15 minutes a day. Let's move on to the next concept. So concept number 4 is something that a lot of people struggle with, and I struggle with it every single time I jump on my simulator and I can see my distance numbers. And I try to not see that distance number, and it is to stop worrying about distance. If you do not break 90 consistently, you should not be worrying about distance. Distance is not what is killing you on the golf course. What you need to focus on is contact. Contact is king when it comes to golf. Keeping it in play is the goal when you are playing golf. A 300-yard drive out of bounds right is not going to be as good as a 200-yard drive down the center of the fairway. You're hitting 3 off the tee there, and you're hitting 200 yards down the fairway. You guys have to remember that. Your goal swing speed should be hitting 10 balls, and 7 or 8 out of those 10 balls hit the middle of the fairway. That could be a 70% swing, that could be an 80% swing. It doesn't matter. Forget about the launch monitor numbers at the moment and just worry about the face control and contact of that ball and making sure it's in the middle of the fairway. Trust me on this, speed and distance are a byproduct of having control. Focus on controlling the ball, your swing will become more efficient, it will become more ingrained where you can add speed and distance later. Let's move on to the next concept. With concept number 4, I would be remiss if I did not show you a drill to help you with contact. And recently I was watching a Mr. Short Game video where he was telling you how to practice at the range, and he said that this drill that he was about to show us would put every PGA professional out of business when it comes to lessons. I don't necessarily believe that, but it does help you with face control tremendously, and that is something that I am working on. So I'm going to show you how to do that drill. It is called the super slow-mo drill. If you do this about 10 minutes a day, you will get better. So let's look at that drill. Okay, so to do the super slow-mo drill, you just need a club. I got a 9-iron here, but you can use any club that you really want. And what this is going to help us do is learn face control. And the key concept is you have to do this in super slow-mo, and which means that you are not hitting full shots. You really want this to like maybe go with my 9-iron, maybe 25 yards, if that. I mean, 25 yards is probably still a little bit too long, but I am going to try to go super slow and do a normal swing and try to make my ball start to the right, to the left, and down the center only with face control. So I don't want to go way from the inside to get it that way, and I don't want to get way from the outside to come that way. I want to do my normal swing, but use the face, and that's why we're doing it super slow-mo, to start it off to the right. And I'm going to start with 5 to the right, then I'm going to go 5 to the left, and then 5 right down the middle. So here's my 5 to the right. I'm gonna do it super slow. Look how slow I'm gonna be doing this. And I got my Garmin R10 to show me if I did this right. And so super slow. This is how slow I'm going. I started that off to the right. That was super slow. I'm learning how to control my face. We'll do another one here to the right. There's another one to the right. And I'm just trying to have that same swing. I'm just trying to control it with my face. After I do 5 to the right, I'm going to do 5 to the left. And I'm really going to try to close my face to get it down to the left. So I'm going to super slow-mo, get 5 to the left. There's one. And what this is doing is this is teaching me what I need to do with my wrist to get it to hook, to get my face pointing towards the left. This will help slicers, it will help hookers, it will help everybody. There's another one. And now this is where the money happens. Now you know what it feels like to hit a ball that way, and you know what it feels like to hit a ball that way. And now we're gonna hit a ball down the center. 5 of them. Right down the center. I know what that feels like now. And if I need to close it more, I know what closing it feels like. If I need to open it more, I know what opening it feels like. And I'm just trying to find that center of the face down the center of the fairway. Now I got that 5, 5, and 5, and you can do 10, 10, 10 if that helps you more. Whatever makes it easier for you, go ahead and do. Now you can kind of ramp it up with some full shots. And now you're just trying to hit it down the center. And I can tell you, every time I've done this drill, I can't miss center. Like, it's amazing how much your body learns how to do things, and it just kind of works out. So now that I got the center done, I'm just gonna hit some more down the center. A little bit more of a full swing, and that's right down the center. I'm just gonna do 5 of these full swings. Another right down the center. It's just like, it's automatic now. Like, you know where it needs to be. I kind of agree with Matt. It's an amazing drill. We'll put PGAs out of the business. I don't think so. Let's move on to the next concept. Finally, we come down to the last concept before our bonus tip, and it's concept number 5, and which is you have to actually go and play golf. I would recommend committing to at least a 9-hole round each week. If possible, an 18-hole round, and I'll explain here in a second. But when you go out and play golf, you are given things that you cannot replicate on a perfect lie on a mat or even a perfect lie at a driving range. You will have some uphill lies. You'll have some downhill lies. You'll have your ball in somebody else's divot, really thick rough, some recovery shots that you have to learn, and sand shots that you just cannot replicate on the driving range. So to learn how to score, you actually have to go play golf and play as many rounds as possible. The reason why I would recommend 18-hole rounds is because there is some fatigue if you are playing a 4-hour round versus a 2-hour round. A lot of people will get tired and your swing will be a little bit more wobbly, maybe not as accurate on holes 16, 17, and 18 versus on holes 6, 7, 8, and 9. So just be aware of that if you're only playing 9 holes. I know on my recent tournament, I played the front 9 at a certain golf course amazingly, and then on the back 9, I kind of fell apart. And if you are playing 9 holes, play the front 9 every once in a while and play the back 9 every once in a while, just to kind of spice things up and get a little bit different holes, and so you can learn that course. And so go play golf, because it is important to learn all these strategies, the mental side of the game, and you cannot do that on the range. And so those are my 5 concepts, and I promised you a bonus tip, and that bonus tip is something that a lot of you will maybe be a little bit wishy-washy about, but I would recommend going to get lessons. And you might be thinking, Matt, I can't get that many lessons in 30 days, but to me, you can get 2 lessons. You can get one right at the beginning, and that one I think is super valuable because you can get exactly what the instructions you need by a PGA professional who is trained to teach you how to play your best golf, and they can give you a concept to practice on so you won't be diving into the YouTube rabbit hole like I have done so many times trying to fix something that I did not need to fix. I know that when I got my first lesson after probably about 4 years of consistently playing, I was hitting maybe 90s, low 90s to high 80s, and now after just one lesson, I was hitting 85, 84 almost every time I was going out into play with one lesson. He told me what to focus on. I focused on it. I researched that specific thing on YouTube and got better exponentially fast by getting those lessons. So the second lesson, which would be about 21 days, about 3 weeks after the first lesson, after you groove into that swing technique, maybe go out and pay a little bit more for an on-the-course lesson with that PGA professional where he or she could show you the course management skills, what shots to hit, how to play different lies, that kind of stuff to help you score lower and have more fun on the golf course. So there it is, my blueprint on how to break 90 if I only had 30 days. It's an intense, very specific things to do to help you break 90. No swing thoughts, one drill to do that I think will help everybody. And if you agree with any of these things or you would like to add something to it, please put it in the comments below. If this has helped you and you take this 30-day challenge, which I would highly recommend you take this 30-day challenge, let me know how it goes down below. Like and subscribe, and maybe share this with a friend that has not broken 90 yet, that needs a little bit help. And until next time, make golf your project, and I'll see you next video.